Swansea PDI Part 2 Test Route 1. Into the lane marked M4, turning left, into the right lane, turning right at the traffic lights, being sure to pick up on all the signage as you come up. Turning right, straight into the left lane, getting up to speed as soon as you can. Not forgetting fuel efficiency driving. I'm now in 5th gear, doing 38 mile an hour. And I've just turned my cruise control on. So let's not forget when we have an opportunity to talk while we're on this long road. As a PDI training ADI, you'll be expected to demonstrate fuel efficiency driving. That will be an aspect for us which is not currently asked of the pupils. So we will be asked to use the technology if we've got it, passe fuel efficiency, no over revving. Obviously, if it's required and necessary, it's understandable to use the appropriate gear, to drift where possible, another terminology for drifting of course is to roll. I don't mean coasting out of gear or with the clutch down, I just mean in gear and let the car roll or drift up to traffic lights if you're planning far enough ahead. Now don't forget, as training PDIs, you only get a maximum of 6 minor faults. The 7th is a fail. Cruise control off, preparing, green is not our friend. Point of no return, cruise control back on, and the cruise control will accelerate for you. Lights are red in the distance, cruise control off. I'm not touching any of the pedals now, I'm just leaving the car drift or roll. As we start getting a little bit closer, press the brake, change to 4th. Leave the van go in front of me, check the mirrors, and back into 5th gear and cruise control back on as soon as possible. Sorry about the weather, there's not a great deal I can do about that. So at this point you'd be following sat-nav, more than likely, although the examiners that up from time to time, depending on what their requirements are. So ahead we're going to be picking up the signs for Jersey Marine. Ahead we're going to be picking up the signs for Jersey Marine. You can see there's no pedestrians at the lights. Some mirrors and signal just as I can see the lines. Into the first lane, cruise control off. Lights are changing, starting to brake a little now. I'm going to try and time it so that we can keep moving. Clutch down, still braking, lights are changing. Second gear, we managed to keep the vehicle moving. That's an example of fuel efficient driving. Mirrors and signal, don't over accelerate, nice and steady, lovely control around the bend, staying in the centre of your lane, and back up to 30 where possible, getting into as high a gear as possible, keeping the revs down and maintaining that fuel efficient driving. You can see the hazards developing ahead, paying attention. Change through the gears, observations, mirrors and signal early enough. Nice gentle braking for control. Getting back over as soon as you can. Cancelling the signal. The reason I put the signal on there is because of the bad weather. And I did have a fast moving vehicle behind me. Didn't cause any confusion, but just in case you're wondering. Park car in front mirrors. Check the mirrors as I move out as well. It's at this point somewhere you'll be asked to pull in to the side of the road where it's safe. Be mindful not to indicate too soon. Mirrors, signal, in you come, use your reference point, clutch in and use the brake to bring you into the side of the road. Make the car safe, indicator off, and then you'll be asked to move away again safely. Very important you get that shoulder check in, don't forget that. And you check the correct mirrors. We've got right of way, you can see the car is slowing down. Ease off the gas a little for the bump. Check your mirrors and through we go. We can see the water hazards on the floor this morning, so although it's raining, this is giving me a good opportunity to show you what this road is like in poor driving conditions as well. So we get back up to 40 as quick as we can. I'm in 5th gear already. Cruise control is back on and I'm doing about 38 miles an hour. So cruise off, drop to 4th because of the bend, reduce my speed a little bit, just to demonstrate control, and then I can accelerate once again. Again, we can see an overtaking line on our side, so that's demonstrating a hazard, so a little bit of reduction of speed. Effectively what you're doing there is you're demonstrating that you're picking up on the road markings and the signs and you're reacting accordingly. As experienced drivers you would be expected to do this. I'm already backing off. Cruise control now set at about 29 mile an hour and in 4th gear. Again, that's all I did. I didn't need to check my brakes, brake late. I started planning well in advance. I could see the signs. bus stops, everything by here. So turn the cruise off now. You can see the road markings. Change to third. We're going to be following the signs for M4. Following the signs for M4. So mirrors and signal. Get into position early enough. Can we time it? More than likely not. So clutch down as we get a little bit closer. Stop for the line. As the lights change, mirrors. Let's make progress straight away. No over revving. Get yourself into second gear. Straight into the left hand lane. Be careful not to go into the filter lane to there. And then we're going to be following the signs for Carmarthen M4. Carmarthen M4. M4 West, it's painted on the floor. Mirrors a signal. Let's reinforce the sign across the way there. Again, we haven't been able to time it, unfortunately. Let's make the vehicle safe. It's out of gear, handbrake on. Leave the indicator on. It's clearly indicating to traffic coming behind, constantly aware of our surroundings. Lights are changing. Prepare the vehicle. Do your checks and your mirrors. Quick check for emergency vehicles on the roundabout, even though you've got a green light. Just a little brownie point there. As an experienced driver. No over revving. Staying in the left hand lane. So mirrors, signal. Because changing to one lane here. Stop overtaking traffic. Checking the centre mirror, side mirror, centre mirror, side mirror. Little glance through the glass to make sure there's nothing beside you. I got up to about 55 mile an hour before I hit the carriageway. Leave the car overtake that pulled out for me. Once the car is away, now I continue building up my speed. Now it is raining. But they'd still expect you, providing the conditions are safe, to get up to speed. Now you can see there's an advisory ahead, so you'd be expected as a experienced driver to get down to that advisory speed. I'm going to set the cruise control now at 50 mile an hour, 49, 50 mile an hour. Motorway part of your drive, a big thing is the 2-second gap. Excuse me. You'd be expected to show a 4-second gap in these type of conditions. And what that effectively means, you don't get to within 4 seconds of the vehicle in front in any circumstances, whether you're overtaking, coming back in from an overtake. Try and leave a distance to the vehicles behind you as well. Don't just overtake them and pull back across them. And as you can see in the distance, the flashing amber sign still saying 50 mile an hour. So you would be expected to adhere to this speed. It's obviously for the conditions that we're currently driving in, unless of course something untoward has happened in front of us. And as experienced drivers, you would be expected to anticipate and plan for those type of eventualities. Something you can't see But because I'm sticking to the advisory speed limit, I've got lots of motorists racing up behind me and at the very last second pulling out. So just keep an eye on that rear view all the time, making sure you're aware of what's going on all around you. Now, due to the advisory speed limit, it's kind of spoiled what I wanted to show you here, but I'm going to try and explain it to you. On this hill at present ahead, there's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, not advisory, a speed limit. It's there for air pollution, I'm led to believe, with the houses to the side of the motorway and the hospital, which is on the other side of the motorway. So if you're out here doing 70 mile an hour on a nice, clear, dry day, you will be expected to be back into this lane unless you're overtaking and slowing down in good time. By the time you get to this sign, you want to be doing 50 mile an hour, and you want to be planning far enough ahead so as you're not pulling back in front of cars because you've been overtaking them at 70, and then they want to continue travelling at 65 mile an hour through the 50 mile an hour speed limit. So you want to be mindful of all of those things, and those signs are very, very clear a long way off. Now I'm doing 50 mile an hour, which means I don't need to move in to the inside lane. But watch what's happening here now. This lorry is now underpassing me because he's choosing to break the speed limit. So I'm just going to hold my speed, hold my position, and as you can see, he's pulled into the hard shoulder. So that's an illegal manoeuvre. There's no need for that lorry to go into the slow lane because he was doing above the speed limit, as you can see, and that potentially was a very hazardous piece of driving on his behalf. Being an ex-lorry driver, I totally understand the necessity to keep the shoe down. However, as a driving instructor, I also understand how to drive correctly and appropriately. So we can see the countdown marker, we're leaving the motorway at the next exit, so it's mirror, signal, making sure that they are clearly apart. We don't need to reduce our speed. This is a long slip road ahead of us. As we can see the slip road lines, just a quick check in the mirrors again to make sure that nothing's alongside of us. Cancel the indicator, left hand lane, cruise control off, and start leaving the car drift once again. We'll be taking the first exit left, signposted Morriston and Hospital A&E. We haven't touched the brakes or anything yet, so a little bit of brake, clutch down, second gear, off the clutch, up the brake, and then a car comes at the last second, so we brake again, go to first gear, quick look, and off we go. I'm going to get straight into the lane here for Morriston, not Morriston Hospital. You can see we're in the outside lane of the two, and we're going to be carrying straight on at this mini roundabout, so there's nothing coming towards us. Nice and steady, checks, no indicator at the mini roundabout, accelerate, and we're going to pull in on the left hand side. Mirrors the signal, cars behind us, they're now going around us. Clutch in to drift to the side of the road, try not to hit the curb if we can, and we come to a controlled stop. Make the car safe, cancel the indicator, and then we'd be expected to move off again. So I'm looking in my mirror now and I can see that there's quite fast moving vehicles. We're on a 40 mile an hour zone. We're preparing. As soon as it's safe, we're straight off. Now, maybe watching out to see if we impact other road users. So this would be a time that you might need a little bit more gas now, above and beyond the fuel efficiency, just to get you up to speed, so that you're not impacting other vehicles. Oh, this is interesting, slowing down. okay. Change to gear 2, not an appropriate time to pass because of the turn lane. And we now can't see around the vehicle plainly enough because there's a bend in the road. So now you'd have to really show your skill here. So what I'm doing here is I'm moving out to the line a little to prevent very foolish drivers trying to overtake. As soon as I can see clearly and safely, I will be overtaking this vehicle. Now I'm looking down the inside of the vehicle as well. There's a vehicle coming towards me, believe it or not. I just seen its lights. Only just caught its lights at the last second. And here it comes. So because I'm holding this wide position now, I can see further down the road. Mirrors and signal. No need to over rev. Making sure we're wide. Mirrors and signal to move back in because it is an overtake because the vehicle was moving. Now, it's single and double yellow lines all along this road. There are a few places to pull over to the other side of the road, and that's the manoeuvre that you're going to be asked to do potentially on this test route. And there is a place just before it comes into the 30-mile-an-hour zone down here. Now at present it's covered by cones, and there it is there. But there is an area there by the camper van where you can pull in usually and reverse 2 car lengths, and it's actually now up as far as the bus stop here and a little bit beyond. So don't rush the procedure, and you need to get over as safely as you can without impacting other road users. You'd be asked to stop here and you'd be asked to reverse 2 car lengths. So get it into reverse, do your 6-point check as quickly as you can, and then you'd be expected to reverse 2 car lengths without impacting other road users. You'd then be asked to stop in a safe place, and when it's safe, move off again. You can see this vehicle's coming towards us. I'm checking my mirrors all the time now. I've got my steering wheel ready to go. A little bit of gas, bite, quick check over my shoulder, check my mirrors, straight into road, not over revving. Try and use the hill to gain your speed as well with a little bit of power, and you're into a 30 zone. Don't forget, we've just come into a 30 zone and it's hidden behind the trees while you're busy looking for somewhere to pull in on the right hand side. You may miss the 30-mile-an-hour sign, so be very careful with that one, okay? So we can see all the hazards and the dangers, so we're approaching with caution. I'm in 2nd gear, I've done my checks, I'm not gassing, I'm leaving the car do its own thing. There's no indicator as it's a mini roundabout. Careful with your speed down here. Signage, we got roadworks going on. So we're approximately 25 minutes into the drive now. Just pay attention to all the signage. We're turning right at the lights, so don't indicate too soon because of the junction. Mirrors, signal, getting into position. Now this is going to be interesting as well. While these roadworks are going on, normally you'd hold your position for longer going straight to be able to allow vehicles to understand that you are going straight and then turning right. However, I can already see that the vehicle beside me now is going to need to come out to the right to be able to get around the bollards. Therefore, I know that my first move straight away to be able to allow the vehicles to move is to be able to get on to the incorrect side of the road as soon as the lights turn green in my favour. So I'm just reading the road and reading the situation and scenario. So as you can see, he's going to come across, so I just move out just to be able to make the right turn, but I don't cut the lane and I don't cut the corner of the road that I'm turning into. Excuse me. Again, as experienced drivers, you would be expected to understand what to do. We can see that the tail lift is operating, so we keep an eye on that as we check our mirrors and we move around the vehicle, making sure that we can see far enough into the road ahead. Now when you're coming up Woodfield Street in the middle of the day, guys, it is a totally different experience. There are people everywhere, there's pedestrians everywhere, there's cars everywhere. It's an absolute minefield. You're going to need to be on your A game coming up this road. I absolutely tell you that now. You're checking everything, you're looking at everything in advance. I mean, I'm coming up here now at 16, 17 mile an hour and it's clear we're in the 20 mile an hour zone. And I'm already looking far enough ahead and planning. I can see the door is open. Church in the road. Really important what you do with this roundabout. The church is a roundabout. We're going to go straight ahead. Okay, so we checked our mirrors. There is no signal. Our position now is to the left. Now, even though there's no road markings, you can clearly see this road is wide enough for two cars. Really important you get the right position here. Mirror is a signal to leave. Keep an eye on your right hand mirror though, because they will try to pass you. We've got to show that we know how to drive correctly. Always careful not to break the speed limit, okay? You've got to spot these road signs, you've got to spot them. We're back into a 30 mile an hour zone. You'd be expected to show progress and get above 20 and change the gear again. We're going straight ahead at the roundabout, straight ahead second exit. So you see the roundabout sign, you see the road markings. There's no indicator. It's all about lane position. Again, this roundabout is very busy in the day. Check for pedestrians on approach as well. Don't forget the hierarchy law. Mirrors and signal. Back into a 30 mile an hour zone. And then they'll ask you to pull over somewhere it's safe. Is it safe here? Yeah, of course it is. We're not near any junctions. We're not near an obscuring bend. I can clearly see up as far as the roundabout behind me and the junction behind. I'm not causing any issues here. But as you can see further ahead, plenty of room for you to pull in and make sure that it is a safe place. So this is the road where you'd be expected to do your emergency stop. As a PDI, training to be an ADI, there's a very good chance that you will be asked to perform that maneuver, okay? So in the daytime, again, this is a different road. It's very, very busy and you won't be asked to do it unless it's safe not to do so. So I get the clutch in, first gear, foot on the foot brake, check in. Last car passes me, indicator on, check over the shoulder, and I'm away straight away. I can see there's nothing coming towards me, so I move out around the parked cars. So brake lights coming is wide enough to get through 2 cars, but if that does happen and you've got nowhere to pull in and someone comes towards you, just slow right down, move in, crawl, mirrors, check it's okay. You know, just act appropriately, guys. Do everything safely and plan far enough ahead as you can, okay? So we're constantly looking into the distance, checking our mirrors, holding our speed, making sure we don't speed down here because it is only 30 mile an hour. Mirrors to come back over. And this is effectively exactly where I did my part of the emergency stop, right here just before the bend, because it was the only place that was available that was safe. Move out if it's safe to do so, checking your mirrors. Nasty right hand bend coming up. We start slowing down, and if we start looking now, we can see into the bend ahead as well, down into second gear. Lane position is vital around this bend. There's no road markings, but you'd still need to show good lane position as well, okay? We got a green light. Green is not our friend, so we're not going to rush it, and it's just turned to amber. We're going to get to the top of the hill and we're going to drift. And I'm kind of glad in a way, because now it's going to give me an opportunity to speak about the next part of the test. So you're about to enter a dual carriageway, and ahead there's a roundabout with a filter lane. Now they may ask you to go in the filter lane. Usually what they want is for you to do a lane change and not go straight ahead at the filter lane. So I'll demonstrate all of that to you now. So if you were to stay in this lane, you'd go on the outside of the roundabout and you'd be in the protected zone. They'll ask you to do a lane change somewhere around here. You've entered a 50 zone, so you would be expected to get up to speed without doing fuel efficiency damage. Mirrors, signal, mirrors, check your blind spot, you're into lane. And then by here they say at the roundabout we'd like you to go straight ahead. At the roundabout we'd like you to go straight ahead. So it's the 4067, and if you look at the road marking now, the A4067, do your checks, making sure it's safe. I've rolled to the roundabout with the clutch down, controlled roll, controlled braking. I'm ready to go as soon as the gap appears, and then signal to leave. Making sure you keep left, giving vehicles space to pass you and go around the roundabout. Now you'd be expected to get back over, and you've come into a 40 zone, so it's mirrors and signal. Keep an eye on the lights, mirrors, signal, bring yourself over. Don't forget, don't go over the 40 mile an hour zone, speed limit, sorry. You can see it all kicking off in front of you. You'd be asked to turn left, you're in the correct lane. Left at the roundabout, so it's mirrors and signal. Again, you've got the pedestrian lights and all of that to worry about on approach. So a little bit of brake, down into second gear. By the time you get here, you're ready to go. Then they'll ask you to possibly go into the stadium by here. And this is where they take you in to do your reverse bay parking part of it. For the purpose of this test, we're just going to go all the way back around the roundabout. We've got an erratic driver behind us, pushing, and there we are. As you can see, no time for anybody, and cut the roundabout as well. So you've got to be aware of all of these drivers all the time, constantly switched on to them, okay? Potentially they will mess your test up. So you'd have been asked to go into the stadium there, and you'd have been asked potentially to do your bay parking. So we're coming up, keep doing your checks, and we join the carriageway again. Highly unlikely they'll ask you to get into the other lane here to go around, but this is another example of through traffic and a filter lane taking you around the roundabout safely. Again, you'd be expected to try and make progress, get up to 40. Roundabout in front, and we're turning left. So it's mirrors and signal. A little bit of brake. Down to second gear. Prepare, have a look, make sure it's safe, and off you go. friend. Be ready for it to change. Point of no return. Accelerate through the lights. Check the mirrors if you are going to alter your speed. There's the repeater at the side of the road. The speed is about to change. However, don't change your speed until you get to the sign. And then just increase your speed gradually. Now the cruise control is still on with me, but I'm now applying the gas gently, just to build up the speed gently. You can see the danger. Road narrows from the right. Check your mirrors, making sure. Excuse me, once you're up to speed, get the cruise control back on. You can see the speed change again. So again, then continue to speed through the sign, picking up your speed again, not over speeding. Cruise control back on. Just under 60 mile an hour. There's the hazard. I'm off the gas already, looking as far as you can. As soon as you see that sign, you're being expected to react. Now you're being asked to turn right. You'll be asked to turn right at the roundabout. There's mirrors and signal, a little bit of brake, see the speed change sign, slowing down, clutch in, second gear from fifth, off the brake, up the clutch, have a look, make sure it's safe. Leaving at the next exit, mirrors and signal, shut that door, as Larry Grayson used to say. You can see the hazards. We're turning at the next roundabout left. We've got the zebra crossing just before it. I've maintained the gear. There's nothing coming from my right. I let the cyclist go as I planned and seen him coming. No need to signal to leave. It's a mini roundabout. You look into the road, make sure it's safe. It's 30 mile an hour and you're expected to get up to speed. Close enough anyway, without breaking the speed barrier and blowing your fuel efficiency. You can see the 20 mile an hour zone. Now, I'm doing 18 mile an hour and I'm in second gear. My cruise control doesn't work under 20 mile an hour, but I travel a wee bit under the speed limit, regardless of how slow it is. You can see the narrowings, you can see that the cars were coming through. Again, this road in the daytime is a different prospect. Depending on the time of your test, there's a very, very busy school coming up here, come school. You need to adhere to all the speed signs, making sure that none of the Chelsea wagons are coming through here and all of that. Sorry to stereotype certain folk, but there you go. You know exactly what I'm on about. You're going to have lots of parents rushing around here, big vehicles, little vehicles, everything else, yeah? So we can see now, this time we've got right of way. We're still in the 20 zone. Take the bumps correctly so you don't lose road position or control of the vehicles, okay? Act appropriately at them. Check over the brow, check your mirrors as you move out. Door width away if you can be. Again, take the middle bump. Try not to break the speed limit. Really difficult, this 20 mile an hour driving, believe it or not. You have the tendency to back on the gas when you come over something like that. Next thing, a couple of miles an hour and you fail your test. Priority to us. Check your mirrors as you move out, check your mirrors as you come back in. Again, you've more school signs, so you can imagine what it's like along here during the daytime. This time I'm going to take both speed bumps because I can, and it's safe to do so. There's the narrowing, you can see a little bit of brake, motorcyclist is through, got a nod of the head then to say thank you, so even the motorcyclist appreciated. It was very narrow but there. So that to me demonstrates I did the right thing, slowing down and allowing the moped to come through, particularly in these awful conditions that we have this morning. And it's little things like that I reckon that the examiners will be watching out for. Acknowledgement of good driving from other road users. You know, I'm expecting that will give you some brownie points and favours in their eyes. They'll know exactly what to look for, don't worry. Control your speed, we're still in a 20. You can see the hazards, parked vehicles. As I came up to that, I looked down the driver's side as it was parked at the side of the road to see if there was any vehicles coming towards me. I could see it was safe. I checked the junction that was on the left ahead. So we've got an irate taxi driver behind us now, obviously in a rush to get to his next appointment. And we've got to be mindful of things like that just in case they do something erratic or foolishly. Bus coming towards us, plenty of room. Just move around the vehicle, nice and steady, nice and slow. You can see the hazards, the bend in the road, the parked vehicles. We're looking over the top of the wall, checking the mirrors. We can see now everything developing in front of us again. We've got the zebra crossing, it increases to 30 mile an hour, but bend in the road, delivery vehicle, let's make sure we get around him nice and safely first. As we come into the road, make sure that it's safe, there's no cars coming towards us, and then accelerate a wee bit. Yeah, so we're up to third. You can see the cars off the gas, leave the car drift, checking the mirrors. As they move back in and it widens again, back on the gas. So we've come into a one-way system, and then all of a sudden we come back into a two-way system, and we increase to 40 mile an hour or close to. Now there's no signage for this next one, but at the end of this road it goes into two lanes, and you're going to be asked to turn left. It's really, really important. The give way sign is a fair bit off. There's the sign for the 30, there's the sharp diversion sign, and it splits here. Don't indicate yet because the lay-by. Let's control the vehicle, let's get the vehicle speed down, and now let's think about indicating as we get a little bit closer to the line. Check the mirrors on approach. If it's clear, off you go. If you've had to pull out in front of vehicles, you would be expected to get up to speed. Not breaking the seat, not breaking the speed barrier or the sound barrier. Constantly looking for that fuel efficiency driving. However, they're also looking for safety and you're not impacting other road users. Yeah. And as you come out to that 30, you come into a 40. As you come out of the 40, you come into a 30, and that's really important because you might have the tendency to over accelerate there. Okay. So I brought the speed back down to about 25 mile an hour there. Put the cruise control back on. I'm back up to about 27, 28 now because the road conditions and the weather. You can see the dangers ahead, brow of the hill, pedestrian lights. Two junctions coming up, unmarked and parked cars pulling out just like this one. Really, really careful and cautious around here, being prepared for it all. Yeah. As you can see, there was no junction signs on approach to those two junctions, and they will take chances there, guys. Okay, we've got to be really, really careful. So we're coming back into the middle of Swansea now, back down to the centre, and at these lights we're going to proceed straight through. Now they may want to talk you through St Thomas here. You need to learn St Thomas, alright? That's all the crossroads and everything, okay? also at these set of lights, they'll take you through the first ones. Oh, there we go. Sat nav is asking us to go through St Thomas, so we'll do the St Thomas. Now from here, you may be asked to go straight on into the docks, round the gyratory system. You may be asked to go up Fabian Way, whatever, but this now is asking me to go through St Thomas, so I'm going to follow the sat nav. And again we can see the 20-mile-an-hour zone. So this is your peeping and creeping put to its fullest potential. All blind junctions here, guys. You're not only checking to your left and your right, but you're checking vehicles coming towards you as well, okay? And you've got to be away from them. And you're looking for first second along here all the time, okay? Mirrors are vital. Every time you're slowing down, they'll be selecting a mirror check. You've got cars blocking your view on the junctions. So you've got to creep out, make sure it's safe, and then you've got to get across the junction. Quick accelerate, back up to second, checking the mirrors, back on the brakes, back down through the box. Get to the line, stop, use your clutch control, creep and peep, make sure it's safe. Looking ahead as well, and a little bit more power for the hill to get to the second gear. Mirrors, creeping and peeping again. Cars are blocking my view right and left. Car ahead is going straight ahead. There we go, and off we go again. So we're going to get to the end this time, and we're going to turn right. We're going to turn right at the end of the road, so mirrors and signals, we get a bit closer. Position, they're going to be looking for this, guys. They're absolutely going to be looking for your position, alright? So it's on or near the line. I haven't come to a full stop. The junction opened up to me, but I was really slow and in first gear by the time I got there. You need to get back over to the correct side of the lane as quickly as you can. Then go through your gears. Round the bend you got the parked cars. Just slowing down. Checks, making sure it's safe, mirrors and ahead. We're turning right at the end of the road. So you need to get round the cars, back into position and on the line. Box section in front of you, which you cannot block, and there's a set of lights which we can't quite see at the moment, so I can't turn yet, so I'm making safe. But because of my road position and I'm being on the road, on the line, if cars wanted to now go around the back of me and turn up through St Thomas, they have the room to do that. I know you can't quite see it because of the angle of the camera, but I've got the lights to contend with. And there's an example of what you shouldn't be doing, which is blocking the box junction with the van. And he's just gone on the curb, believe it or not, to get through the gap. Car's calling me on. We've got two junctions. You might see them now. There's one there to contend with as well, and the lights have already changed. It happens that quickly, alright? So as you come out to that junction, you've got the lights to contend with. So you've got to be aware of what's coming through the lights. You've also, just after the lights, got a junction which comes off Fabian Way as you're travelling out to Swansea before you get to them lights. It's also there because of the houses and the parked cars, etc., that you can't quite see. Have a look at it on Google Maps when you get an opportunity, this particular junction. Again, from here, they could ask you to go straight through. They could ask you to, go straight through, get into the right-hand lane, go around the gyratory system, back up then towards the test centre on the B road that runs down the front there, or they could ask you to turn left by here. They can ask you to do numerous things. I can't cover them all, so you do need to learn everything in and around this sort of an area, okay? Several directions, several obstacles that they could ask you to navigate around and navigate around safely. I wish I could cover them all in this video. I just can't. I simply can't. So again, use Google Maps, have a look at them, zoom in, have a look at the road markings, drop a pin, do whatever you can to help gain as much advantage as possible, particularly if you're not from Swansea, and you're coming into the area to do your part 2 for your PDI, ADI training. My voice is starting to fade now. We're 52 minutes into the test. Mirrors and signal. Check for cyclist. Follow the curb around. 30 mile an hour. The signage was a little bit behind us. We'd be expected to get up to speed and then put the cruise control back on. Yeah, my voice is starting to fail now. I hope that the commentary driving has really helped you to understand what it is you'll be expected to do. A large majority of people don't adhere to the speed limit on this road. So if it's very busy, you need to start thinking about getting into lane already, okay? So it's mirrors, signal, mirrors, again, glance for the blind spot, and over you go. Because we are turning ahead, and I've got into lane early. You're just about to watch the traffic now underpassing me, and it is about to get very, very busy behind me, which again you can't see. So you need to think about getting into lane as soon as possible, because if you leave it too late, you'll be struggling at these lights big style. Turning right at the lights, turning right at the lights, mirrors and signal, about 600 foot away. Off the gas, a little bit of brake as I move into the filter lane for turning, clutch in about 2 to 3 car lengths away and using the brake to come to a controlled stop. We reach the line, make safe. Turn the signal off, we're sitting here. When we turn, reapply it. So as you can see, 2 set of lights. As experienced drivers, you should know exactly what that's all about and what you can do and what you can't do. Don't think you need me to tell you. But for those of you that do, basically what we've got a traffic light system here where green arrow, as you can clearly see, indicating straight through. The red light is now for people that are in this lane for turning. So we just sit behind the line as opposed to move into the box, because we have a designated light. So we're preparing now already. And there we go. Reapply the signal. We're going to get into the right hand lane, always being vigilant in case people haven't seen the lights and changed. And at the roundabout we're going to turn, all under control. We've changed the speed limit, as you can see, mirrors and signal. Very important you don't cut this corner and go over the line there. Mirrors and signal. Check for vehicles coming towards you. There's very little room there. They will already be coming. If they come in and the room isn't there, hold back. Very nice car driver there, let me through. And you'd be expected to kind of get up to speed, get up to about 25-26 mile an hour and show a reasonable change in pace and gear there. It is 30 mile an hour and the 20 starts down that road. So a little bit of brake, down the gears again, going around the bend as safely as possible. Now, at this stage they would pull you into the test centre, which is there now on the left hand side. I'm not allowed in there, so I'm just going to pull up on the left hand side where it's safe to do so. There you go, excellent. Hope that was helpful, and that concludes the PDI ADI Part 2 Test Route 1 for Swansea.